Welcome back, everybody. Let's take a break with Stephen Shamus.
Good to see you, my friend. How's it going?
Always a pleasure. Great. Fantastic.
No hat this week?
No hat
cap?
this week. No, my hair is out of control. Out of control.
I can see that.
The only cap is on Fridays.
Oh, okay. All right, what are we talking about this week, Alex?
Yeah, let's dive into some things that have kind of hit the waiver wire, if you will, of the comic book world. We've talked a little bit about Flag Smasher in the past, but let's really dive down a little bit into it because Aaron Kellerman surprised everybody by being the Flag Smasher in last week's episode of Falcon Winter Soldier. So we got to, of course, talk about the comics. Let's talk Zatanna, because there's some big news that there was a screenwriter attached to it, which I feel like we might see her in the Black Adam movie, because all of the characters in the Black Adam movie just make sense to be a Zatanna, Hawkman, Dr. Fate.
Cab ut Lamron.
And then let's talk a little Thunderbolts.
Aaron Seymour and the Thunderbolts? Surprised to see me, Avengers. You should be. Once I stole Stark's inversion stabilizer, it allowed us to move among you, disguising who we really are.
We?
The Masters of Evil!
Is this true?
You cannot even see what's right before your eyes. Goliath, Beetle, Fixer, Moonstone, and of course, Screaming Mimi.
Right. Okay, good. We got a good show tonight. So what are we going to lead off with?
Let's talk about Flag Smasher, because that was a cool thing that happened in the last couple of weeks.
So what we're seeing is a little pattern here, right? Is something is on Disney Plus, and then 50 million people watch it, and then 5 minutes later, everybody runs online and tries to buy it. Yeah. And if you catch that small window of time between like when it first goes on and when you go to eBay, you could usually clean out Avengers West Coast 45.
Yeah.
And then they get cleaned out, right? And then so Flag Smasher is one of those characters. Aaron Kellyman is great. Kellyman was also, if you recall, was Enfys Nest, the leader of the Rebel Cloud Riders in Solo.
Solo, yep.
So
I remember Solo. I don't know if I saw that. Is it a Star Wars movie? I think I might have seen it.
So she was great in that movie too.
Fantastic.
So she's familiar to fans. She's familiar to everybody. So first appearance of Flag Smasher is Captain America 312. So they really turned back the clock here, 1985. Yeah. So again, you're going to start to hear these pops, and they're really, really low pops. It's a 36-year-old book out of nowhere, right? The pops are very low. There was a decent print run on the regular book. I don't know how many 9/8 are going to pop out, but everyone is going through their dollar boxes. Yeah. Everyone's going through the dollar boxes, trying to pick these comics up for a couple of bucks, and now they're not $1 or $2 anymore. They're a lot more than that. So December of 1985, there's only 7 blue label 9.8s, Alex.
Wow.
1 gold label 9.8.
That's crazy.
They're $400 is what they were selling for in 9.6. They're $25 to $30 raw. Good luck trying to find a blue label. You're going to have to send one in. The pops are going to rise because people are going to go out and get them. So talk a little bit about the character of Flag Smasher and what that character is. I mean, obviously, if you've seen the show, it's one thing. Is that consistent with the character in the comic books? Yeah,
the character in the comic books and the character in the TV show is the main constant there is that they don't want everybody should be equal. There is no nations, there's no flags. It's one people, the people of Earth. In the comic, this guy was kind of like dressed up in a suit and was like anti-flag, anti-countries, anti-establishment. And in the TV show, the character is, I guess during the blip, during the 5 years, the countries were more, together and more talking to each other because of everything that's happened. Nobody could worry about like wars and their where their lines of property are and stuff kind of went away. And then everybody came back and everything kind of went back to status quo. And these new Flag Smashers are saying, no, we were doing better. during the blip because everybody was working together.
Got it. Okay. And by the way, that's the Paul Neary and Bob Layton cover. It's a pretty good cover. It's pretty cool. Then Captain America 321, 9 months later. You have September of 1986. There are 20 blue label 9.8s. There's 4 gold label 9.8s. Again, those are going to start getting sent into CGC. People can go through the dollar boxes. Today, that's a $100 book in 9.6. It's probably a $5, $10, $15 comic book raw. Still not the character in the books was the male. Obviously on the show, it's a female.
Carl, I believe.
Right. Flag Smasher is still not on the cover,
right,
but in the book. Captain America 322 is the first cover.
Yes.
This is the book that I like, Alex.
Yeah.
October of 1986. There's only 3 blue label 9.8s,
Ooh.
0 gold label 9.8s. It's a low, no pop book, basically. Again, those are going to get sent in. It's a $20 to $25 book raw, but and I know when they're on the cover for the first time, that's a very big impact.
Yes.
It's a Paul Neary cover with Joe Rubenstein. So Paul Neary was doing all the Cap covers at this time, although Mike Zeck had done the 321 cover. So again, that's an issue to pick up. And then the next issue that you should really look at, another great cover in December of 88. So a little over 2 years later, Captain America number 348, also 3 blue label 9.8s, 0 gold label 9.8s. That's a $20 to $25 book raw. He's on the cover again. So again, it's a great cover. It's got Battlestar. It's got the Ultimatum Commission and a President Ronald Reagan appearance was in that book as well. It's a Ron Frenz and Al Milgrom cover. So those are all the key Flag Smasher books that you should be looking at. They're not expensive today.
Yeah.
And you know what happened with White Vision and some of these other stuff.
Yep.
Goes up, up, and up. I mean, the WandaVision stuff went absolutely bonkers.
Yep.
All right, cool. What do we got next on the list, Alex?
Yeah, let's see if I can do it. Anantaz, Zatanna. Her name backwards.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So we got it, Alex. So this character is very, very old. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of the Silver Age stuff on Zatanna, but also some modern stuff that's more popular because that's probably more like the character that you're going to see in the film. So let's talk a little bit about Hawkman number 4, and then you'll give some background on the character and then the modern character. So Hawkman number 4, October, November of 1964, first appearance. So obviously the book is, 50 some odd years old, 50 years old, 57 years old, a 7.5 just sold for over $2,000. I'll give you the pop reports on it. They're very, very low until you get into 9.0. There's 3 blue label 9.8s. There's 12 blue label 9.6s. There's 14 blue label 9.4s. There's 27 blue label 9.2s, and then 38 blue label 9.0s. There's 0 gold labels in any of those grades. First appearance and origin of Zatanna. It's the Murphy Anderson cover. That's a great cover.
Beautiful cover, yeah.
So really, you're looking, if you want an affordable book, you're looking in the 7.5. Try to get a clean, maybe a white pages there. Talk a little bit about that version of Zatanna. Is that the same Zatanna that we know today?
Yeah. I mean, obviously things change, but I mean, this is the same magician, the daughter of Zatara. The fun thing about Zatanna is she's a magic character, but she says for her to use her magic, she says everything backwards. So she's, it's like, take the guy's hat off. She says it in reverse. So it's really fun to read it and know and like try to figure out what she's saying. And for Hawkman 4, it's funny because not only is she not on the cover, but there's no mention of her on the cover. It's not like back up with Zatanna or introducing Zatanna, even when like Flag Smasher's on the cover, the storyline is but you wouldn't have any idea Zatanna's first appearance in the Hawkman 4 other than opening it. But she's been a character in the DC universe for years. Big fan favorite. More recently, she's Justice League Dark, which is going is a property that DC is really pushing heavily on for live action. She also has had relationships in the past with John Constantine, which is also a character that DC uses quite often in the TV shows, the movie, the cartoon stuff. So I mean, the fact that they're doing a movie, this is great because Zatanna is a huge fan favorite of DC Universe.
Right. Okay. Second appearance of Zatanna, a Gil Kane Murphy Anderson cover, Adam number 19, July of 65. It's her first cover. So this one I think is a much better buy, especially considering the price points. There are 0.98s. There are 5 9.6s blue labels, 12 9.4 blue labels, 6 9.2 blue labels, 8 9.0 blue labels. So really, you got to go lower than that. And 8.5 just sold for $250 for the first cover, Alex.
That's bananas. That's I'm gonna look it up right now. I need to buy one. I'm buying one as we speak.
Right.
That's crazy.
Then you really, the next real Zatanna story that you're really looking at is January of 1977, DC Superstars of Magic number 11. It's the first solo Zatanna story. There are 7 blue label 9.8s, 22 blue label 9.6s, 22 blue label 9.4s. Again, there are no gold labels in any of those. 9.8 just sold for $1,500, a 9.6 for a little over $700. Again, that's a steal. It's the first solo Zatanna story. It's the Gray Morrow cover and art. It's a great cover. Again,
hard book to find.
Right, hard book to find. To me, that's a steal, even at those 7. Again, Alex, when we're talking about a lot of these modern age books that are 9.8s that are like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. I mean, these books are really, really hard to find in comparison.
Yeah.
Okay, that takes us next to the Zatanna Special, number 1 from 1987. There are 36 blue label 9.8s, 0 gold label 9.8s. That's about $100 books. Again, it's a great Morrow cover.
Yeah.
Another cool cover of Zatanna. It's drawn in that 80s, that typical 80s style. Then you have the Zatanna series, her own series. First series of her own. Zatanna number 1, July of 93. There are 25 blue label 9.8s, 0 gold label 9.8s. Again, it's only a $100 book. It's an Esteban Maroto cover. Great cover. These books are really, really cheap, Alex. I don't know how you don't add these to your collection if you believe in the character.
Right.
Right. Then in 2003, another one shot, Zatanna Everyday Magic.
I love that
62 blue label 9.8s, 3 gold label 9.8s. It's only a $100 book. That was published under the Vertigo brand. You'll talk about that in a second. It was a Brian Boland cover. Great, great cover. Talk a little bit. Why would they put that under the Vertigo brand?
Like I said, when you're talking about a character that is kind of linked with like Magic, Dark Arts, and John Constantine, I mean, that's where you're going with that. I mean, this character, again, with doing stuff in Justice League Dark, it stops being like a superhero punch the bad guy. You got to kind of add a little bit more oomph to it. So like Swamp Thing, Hellblazer, Constantine, Lucifer, they're all in that same kind of like line, and those are definitely Vertigo titles. This book is great. I remember this Prestige format book coming out, and Paul Dini had a hand in it too, which is, you know, from DC perspective, huge in the DC world.
Right. Next, you had 2010. You had her next series. This is where the Zatanna books get interesting.
Yeah.
These books are worth more than the older books.
Yeah.
And I think maybe it's because more of the style of what you're going to see.
Yeah.
So July of 2010, Zatanna number 1, there's 22 blue label 9.8s. There's 8 gold label 9.8s. That's about $100 to $125 book today. Not expensive. Again, you want to pick that up. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The Brian Boland variant cover.
Right.
16 blue label 9.8s, 5 gold label 9.8s. They're $50 raw. That means that they're going to be $400 to $500 in 9.8. You can't find that cover.
Yeah.
Can't find it. It's interesting because Brian Boland did the cover and the other one that we just mentioned back in 2003. So they brought him back 7 years later to do this cover.
Yeah.
That is a key book, the Brian Boland variant cover.
Totally.
The second print, which is called the red cover, because it's got that red tint to it, impossible to find, Alex. Impossible. 6 blue label 9.8s, 1 gold label 9.8s. They're $50 raw. They're hard to even find raw.
Yeah.
So to me, that's a key book.
Yeah.
And then you get into the Adam Hughes run, which are incredibly popular.
Hard to
You'll
find.
have to explain why Zatanna 15 is bigger than the other ones, but let's go through them real fast. Zatanna number 11, May of 2011, 80 blue label 9.8s, 18 gold label 9.8s. That's about $125. Zatanna 12 was done by Amanda Connor. Doesn't sell for that much as the other Adam Hughes' covers.
Right.
I guess people were collecting the Hughes covers. Zatanna 13, July of 2011, 44 blue label 9.8s, 10 gold label 9.8s. That's $100 to $125.
Yeah.
Zatanna number 14, the top drops off a cliff. August of 2011, 8 blue label 9.8s, 3 gold label 9.8s. That's about a $300 book. Okay. Zatanna 15, September of 2011, 56 blue label 9.8s, 6 gold label 9.8s. That's a $500 book, Alex. And then Zatanna 16, October of 2011, 47 blue labels, 121 gold labels, which means that Adam must have done a sign. Final issue, $450. Now, you always say that when you get to start getting to the final issues, the sales start to drop off. Is that why you see 14, 15, and 16 at those levels?
100%. Yeah. Plus that 15 cover, the all black cover where it's Zatanna just kind of like doing magic. That is you can't get better for a Zatanna cover. It is completely black. There's not a lot of trade dress. There's not a lot of words. There's not, the story is not getting thrown in your face. There's not a lot of imagery. And it's just like the fluorescent covers you see, the Marvel ones. It's simple stuff. It's a simple cover. It's her. It's a black background. She's doing magic. It's beautiful. It's probably one of the best Zatanna covers you could get.
Right. Absolutely. All right. So we come to that time of the show. Alex's pick of the week. What do you got for us, Alex?
I'm going to go back to the action figure world and talk a little bit about my favorite Taiko Toys. You remember Taiko with all the like RC cars?
That's
the crash test dummies.
It's the incredible crash dummies! Whoa! Some days this job's hard to face. Now the crash dummies have a crash test center where Slick, Spin, and all the dummies face the ultimate test.
Nice body slam!
There's even a place to crunch your crash car.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I love these toys. These are some of my favorite action figures. Taiko is mostly known for electronic cars or remote control cars, but they put out these crash test dummies with a cartoon, and they're meant to be thrown against the wall. This is the cool action figure. Like, they have a button on them, you push them, their legs and arms fall off. They're vehicles, you put them in their vehicles and you slam it against the wall and it crushes up and ejects them and like explodes. These toys are awesome. Very short-lived, very quick 90s toy, but I think some of my favorite toys are the quick-lived, the Tick toys, the Bucky O'Hare toys, like the really quick in and out James Bond Jr. toys. You can collect them all. There's not a million of them, and just they're beautiful. And the design on them. I think it was Taiko's last foray into action figures, and they just stuck with the RC cars.
Got it. That sounds like fun.
They're great.
I'm trying to remember those. All right, you'll show the picture on the
screen. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, what are we closing up with tonight, Alex?
Yeah, let's get with the Thunderbolts.
So, like every other Marvel property, it seems everything is like tripled and quadrupled. It's like crazy. Like, you can see the escalation. I think a lot of it has to do with low pop. I think a lot of the books have been tossed in the garbage. I've thrown out a lot of stuff over the years. I'm like, oh, it's only worth $1. Boom, buy. Yeah. I mean, I'll even give you a funny example. Like, I've kept some of like the half issues, like the Wizard half issues that we used to do, and I would keep like 5 or 10 copies, just whatever. And like the Gambit ones, I remember like 15 years ago, like we were cleaning out the warehouse. We're like, oh, Gambit half. Yeah, just chuck them. Don't worry about it. Like, just start. And they're like $350 now.
Yeah.
Like the mail away offer that we did. Yeah. And I'm like, we had thousands of those in the warehouse like 15 years ago. And they're like, and you found like 2 copies in your collection. Right. You're like,
oh, great. Yeah. That's what makes them rare, right? I mean, they're missing, they're gone. You can't
but it's like
them.
It's like so much of that stuff has been tossed and thrown out because like who was keeping Gambit number 1/2, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, and now they're impossible to find.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is going on with Thunderbolts, Alex?
This is the ripe property. This is a great animated series. This is a great animated movie. This is a great live action TV show. I mean, you can't get any better with this. I mean, it was one of the best kept secrets. And I mean, 97, the internet was around, but it wasn't hugely prevalent as it is now. I mean, like keeping secrets and stuff. Yeah. I mean, it's just the internet wasn't as prevalent as it was in 97. I mean, it was there, people were on it, but it's not like it is now. There was no social media like it is. So, when the Incredible Hulk issue came out and this new team Thunderbolts came, everybody's like, oh, look at this new superhero team, a bunch of new characters. And then they got their first issue and came out and people were like, oh, what's this Thunderbolts? It's a new team. And at the end, spoilers, it's the Masters of Evil that are parading as new superheroes. And nobody knew that was going to be the twist of the end until the book came out. And that's a huge secret to hold. And then, of course, went to second printings. It got huge, and there's all kinds of stuff. And they've been in a Marvel mainstay forever. And the leader is Baron Zemo. So, if anything's going to come out of it, and Baron Zemo in Winter Soldier and Falcon and Winter Soldier, he's a bad guy, but he's doing it because of good reasons, I guess you would say.
We see that a lot.
He's
like
not
Thanos,
super
right?
evil. Yeah, exactly. He's not super evil. He's not like killing children left and right and kicking dogs, but he's doing things because people need to know that, what the Winter Soldier was and everything. So who knows?
And you don't know what the makeup of the team ultimately will be, because it's one of like the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like
Right.
when they decided to make the movie, same thing with Suicide Squad. You didn't know which characters they were going to pull in.
Right. Yeah. It's been different characters. I mean,
Right.
Baron Zemo gets kicked out, and so he's not the leader anymore. Citizen V was the hero alter ego.
Okay, Alex. So the first appearance of Thunderbolts, Incredible Hulk number 449, January of 1997. There are 475 blue label 9.8s. There are 14 gold label 9.8s. That book is $750 today and going up, up, up and away. At this point, the team was Citizen V, Meteorite, Techno, Mach 1, Songbird, and Atlas. And it had a Mike Deodato cover.
Yeah.
So that was the team at that point in time. Okay. So we don't know if that's going to be the ultimate team. Then, Alex, then you have the Thunderbolts Prelude number 1, which also came out in 97, which reprints Hulk number 449. There's only 9 blue labels, 2 gold label 9.8s. That book is selling for around $300, but it's impossible to find. What was the promo on that? How did you get that book?
There was remember mail orders where you
Oh
go.
God.
Where you
we used to do the Wizard Half mail orders.
That's it. The American Entertainment, which was a mail away.
I remember American.
Yeah,
It was Steve
they were
Milo.
huge.
Steve Milo. It was
Yeah.
Steve Milo's company. I remember them.
They were
Sure.
huge. I used to get those catalogs every couple of weeks. Just
We did a lot of business with them.
Yeah,
That reminded me. Those were like the CD catalogs. We used to sit and wait for the
Yep.
CDs or the cassette tapes.
that's
Remember
it.
that?
Yep. They had a couple stores. It went in a couple iterations. It was renamed. It had a couple stores, kind of like Hot Topic type stores. But American Entertainment, and it was a mail away catalog, and these you could buy these through there. They had a couple exclusive books over the years, and this was one of them.
Yeah, very, very hard to find. That's the book.
Yeah.
Like that's the book. Then you had Thunderbolts number 1 in April of 1997.
Yeah.
153 blue label 9.8s, 9 gold label 9.8s. It's about a $250 book. Seems very, very low. $25 to $30 raw. This crew was Masters of Evil, Wrecking Crew. Black Widow was in this issue. Spider-Man New Warriors were made a cameo. It was a Mark Bagley cover. So very, very popular issue.
Yeah.
I would try to get it raw or try to get one of the 9.8s. 250 is not bad. Now, second print. They call it the pink cover. Like we had the red cover earlier.
Yeah.
Now we get the pink cover. These are impossible to find. There's 8 blue label 9.8s, 0 gold label 9.8s. It's about $175 raw. You cannot find this book.
Yeah.
That's another book that I'd be looking for. And again, it's, because it was a second print pink cover, Alex, it could very easily be sitting in these common boxes.
Totally.
No dealer would have like, the second print pink cover, because if you go back 9 months or 10 months when the pandemic started, or 11 months, whatever it was now, and you think about that book was probably a $2 or $3 book, it easily could have been in a dollar box. The pink book would have been in the dollar box too.
I definitely would have thought, oh, it's a second printing. Who cares?
But you can't tell from the cover.
Right. Yeah.
You would know looking at the cover, right? So anyway, that one's an impossible book to find. Then Thunderbolts number 2, May of 97, 1 blue label 9.8, 0 gold label 9.8s. It's a $10 to $20 book raw. This has Mad Thinker, Awesome Android. It's got Franklin Richards, Alicia Masters, Circus of Crime. So again, it's a Mark Bagley cover. Depending on the iteration of the group, which we don't know what it is,
Right.
you don't know which book to buy. That's why we're listing all of them right now. So then you have the variant cover, 6 blue label 9/8, 0 gold label 9.8. That's a $25 to $30 book raw. Then Thunderbolts number 3 is June of 97, 13 blue label 9/8, 0 gold label 9/8. That's a $10 to $15 book raw. First appearance of the new Masters of Evil, which is Crimson Cowl, Man Killer, Flying Tiger, Cyclone, Tiger Shark, and Claw.
Yep.
Again, it's a Mark Bagley cover. Again, depending on which character iterations make up the group, that I would just buy all these.
Yeah.
Thunderbolts number 4 seems to be on fire. It's the first Jolt in costume.
Yeah.
July of 97, 25 blue label 9/8, 1 gold label 9.8. That's a $300 book, Alex. $50 to $75 raw. Halle Takahama becomes Jolt and joins the Thunderbolts. And then Amim Zola is also in the book. Talk a little bit about Jolt and why Jolt is so hot.
Jolt was, any characters in the Marvel universe that aren't just the white males. I think there's definitely a push in current Marvel, which is fantastic, is to do, do different types of people. The America's made up with 2 different types of people. There's Marvel Comics is mostly in American comic book form, so why not? Jolt also the straight. She was not a villain turned into a superhero. She was just a superhero with a new super team. So the fact that she was on this team of the villains and didn't know it was also a really cool story element. And this is early Kurt Busiek stuff too. This Marvel era is really well written, and this was right before or right after the bankruptcy. So they culled everything down to just, a little bit of books and put a lot of effort into those.
Got it. And then the last book for the Thunderbolts that we're going to talk about is Thunderbolts Distant Rumblings, which was the -1 issue.
The flashbacks,
which came out July of 97, 4 blue label 9/8, 0 gold label 9/8. It's a $5 to $10 raw book. Again, Baron Zemo is in there, Submariner, Doc Samson cameo. It's Kurt Busiek again, Steve Epting covers. Probably got to be very early Steve Epting work.
Yeah.
Before he took off with Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that's another book that's very, very hard to find that you want to try to find in raw. The -1 was a pretty big marketing campaign, so I think they did sell a lot of books. But again, those books have been thrown out. I mean, Alex,
there was
tossed.
Like you said, there was a big promo campaign. So shops had millions of these books. People are picking them up. I mean, they're not hard to find, but at some point they do become hard to find because people they're sitting in collections, or they toss them, or they're in dollar bids and quarter bids. They get beat up and nobody has perfect copies anymore.
Right. All right, Alex, that does it for tonight. Another great show. If you have any questions, comments, whatever, let's put it in the comments here. We thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week. Same bat time.
Same bat channel.